The Distinguished Alumni Award recognizes individuals whose journey began at BGSU Firelands and whose impact now extends far beyond it. Through leadership, service, and purpose, they reflect the lasting influence of a Firelands education. Frida Umuhoza was just 14 years old when everything changed. She grew up in Rwanda in a loving home, 6 children, hardworking parents, a life rooted in faith. But at school, one moment shifted everything. A teacher asked students to separate Hutu from Tutsi. Frida didn't know where she belonged until a classmate whispered, "Stand up, you are Tutsi." From that day on, she was no longer just a child, she was a target.
We were led to a ditch where we were supposed to be killed from. That was gonna be our tomb. And my father was following the whole conversation and everything that was going on because he could see from far away where he was hiding. We were told to go down in the ditch and lay on our stomach so it could be easier for them to bury.
Neighbors turned on neighbors. Hate that began with words became violence. Surrounded by people they once trusted, she was beaten and left buried beneath the bodies of her loved ones. But Frida survived. Rescued by those who chose courage over hate, she lived to tell her story. Today, Frida is more than a survivor. She is a witness, because her story reminds us genocide does not begin with violence, it begins with words, and it is up to all of us to choose differently.
I have been speaking the past 30 years now, and or a little bit less than that, but it means that it's no longer just my story. It's a tool to help others in the world that are suffering as well. It's a tool to help the people that I probably will never meet because somebody has read my book and has seen, okay, this girl went through, losing her entire family, being buried alive, but she still made it, and she still is speaking and working in resilience. And therefore, if this person can be able to do that, I can too. I graduated in arts and my bachelor's of arts and communication, and so it improved my communication, the way I talk to people, the way I communicate, and the way that I connect with my audiences. Dr. Murak is one who helped me do my second edition of my book, and because he was my psychology teacher. The friendships that I've made around campus, and so it's changed my life, that I will carry the rest of my work and the rest of my life.
Who Frida is something I found in one of my first classes with her. Basically, for me, she's someone who is probably by far the single most remarkable student I've ever met, and maybe the single most remarkable human being I've ever known. After coming to Firelands, I began teaching courses on clinical psychology. One of them was on abnormal behavior, and Frida took that class, which is where I learned about her story. She was indeed chosen to die, yet managed to live. She then asked to take an independent study with me to help understand and research the phenomenon of trauma and recovery. I soon learned just how special, heroic, and kind she is. Even more, it became clear to me that after a while, I was the student and she was the professor. Not only was she able to survive, but she went on to thrive. For example, she gave talks on genocide at the United Nations and became a leader on reconciliation movements around the world. In addition, Frida is just as active with humanitarian work after graduation, and she carries on that kind of work today. The fact that Frida carries a bit of Firelands with her wherever she goes makes her a distinguished alumni, one that is beyond measure.